Hello and welcome to yet another cast. For you today I have a custom 5v5 played on the Noxus map generator. We have team 1 up in the top, team 2 down the south. Up in the north, sorry. And let's start with the southernmost player of team 1, and we can already see shit tons of reclaim on this map. Maybe let's actually start with looking at the reclaim numbers before anyone reclaims it, and... 200k reclaim. Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, southernmost slot of the northern team. Going Seraphim, opening first land. In dark blue we have Neophyte. Then to the north, in burgundy red, going Cypern and opening first land we have Cups. Then to the northeast, in cyan blue, or I guess just cyan as a color, going Cypern and opening first land we have Original Angel. To the northwest, in the dark grey-ish, greenish grey, whatever color, that I still haven't found a name for, in almost a full year of casting, we have Signal Runner, going Cypern, opening first Air. Then to the east, last player of the northern team, in Regal Purple, going Cypern as well, lots of Cyperns on the northern team. And opening first land we have Black Phoenix. Well, they aren't black as the color. Well, to be fair, the Cypern ACU is very much dark and with a lot of black, so maybe fair enough. But let's see to what extent they will rise from the ashes. Now, let's start with the northernmost player of Team 2 in the south. In orange, going Cypern as well. And opening first land, we have Cypern Noob. Very fitting name, considering the fact that they are indeed going Cypern. Then down to the south, in brown, going Seraphim, opening first land, we have Spectre Slave. To the west, yes, took me a moment. The cardinal directions and have always been an issue, I guess. If you have been watching my cast for some time, you will be very much aware of that. But yeah, to the west of Spectre Slave, we have Count Swagular, going Cypern in that completely swagulous red or something. I don't know what I'm talking about. But opening first land. And yes, they are in red. Down to the southeast, in dark green, going Cypern, opening first land, we have Hyper. And I think that's all that needs to be said about that. And last, but certainly not least, we have Wakatha to the west of Hyper, in pink, going Aeon, opening, I think, first land. Yeah, they gated in here, and that's the closest factory to that. There was some walking needed to be done to build this one, so that was first land. Second air by looks of it. And already moving the ACU towards the middle. Right, that's the players introduced. Let's take a short look at the map. We already looked at the reclaim, 177k still left. So players definitely eager to get all of that. We do have a few mountains right at the frontier, creating a bit of a secured position for Count Swagular, or like the players on this side, and also a bit more distinguished lanes for Wakatha as well. Some plateaus connecting to that. We have 3 pawns. And yeah, that's basically it, I think. Already first air scouts out. The southern team eager to get its information about the northern team. But we also have this air scout out for signal runners, so same story there. Cypher Noob also pushing out quite aggressively with that commander. Original Angel spreading out quite aggressively again as well, and would you look at that, a naval factory! Are we about to see Pond Navy? I mean, they are playing Cyprus, so maybe we will see some Salem shenanigans. But would certainly be very funny. So much reclaim on this map. Such an insane amount. That will most likely mean that we will see some early max upgrades, and well, also very high amounts of power being built, and that's exactly what we can see right here. Lots of power. Those P-gens actually spaced out a bit, interestingly enough. How far spaced out are they? Is that like full? Can't really judge that right now. No, it's the half, like the half square thingy, like half the size of a P-gen between each of them. Maybe to prevent them from chaining in case one of them goes up. Usually not an issue I see that often. Well, at least not with T1 P-gens, since they don't do enough volatility damage to kill each other. Usually. Interesting call right here. And also with the factories now going down here, that means less adjacency bonus on those air factories. But it's their call. I hear some firing of some gun, I'm not sure where. Ah, right here, down, well, on the northern flank, we have a small run-by out from Black Phoenix with a single Mantis currently assaulting a Mass Extractor. They might not a single Mantis, two Mantis. Picking up that Mass Extractor and Battle Exit, also having already killed some Engis, possibly. Some Mantis trying to run after to deal with this, but taking the fire and with the way they moved, already going down. One of the Mantis ends up being reclaimed, but not before it could take, the other one could take out two more Engineers. And there's the ACU for Spectre Slave killing it off at last. Lots of spam right here being produced by Count Svergula. Already at T2 land as well. Well, what do I mean already? We are already at 6 minutes and 40. So some T2 is not too unexpected to see coming out. And in addition to that, of course, just all the mass coming from that insane amount of reclaim. That we can also see just being spent partially on more P-gens. Again, not a big surprise there, since spending mass costs power, and if you have a lot of reclaim, that means you will have to spend a lot of mass early on, meaning that you will need a lot of power early on. Naval Factory is going straight for T2. I guess some of that nice reclaim is being utilized for that. So yes, I'm pretty sure we will see some shenanigans with Salem's right there. Don't see it very often, but let's see how that memory pays off. Now, Neophyte going in with a quite aggressive push with that T1 land army. And if that pushes in a bit more aggressively, that should probably completely wreck the army of Rekatha. Since Aurora's very poorly armored, they do have the highest range of any of the T1 tanks, or main assault units. However, they have basically no HP pool with just 155 HP. Looking at a Therm with 280, that's not far off doubling the HP pool of a Aurora. I know it's not quite there. That would be 310, yes, but like it's already pretty close to that. Neophyte going for a gun upgrade a bit further back. And are there any more upgrades underway from other players? Okay, nothing on Vekathel, nothing on Count Svergula. Count Svergula was trying to go for Torpedo, I guess to deal with the shenanigans going on in the pond, in the middle. We do have Stealth going on for Cyber Noob. A very Cyber strategy, just hiding. And a gun upgrade going out for Black Phoenix. The gun upgrade will most likely beat Stealth. And that is going for T2, interesting. Stealth usually does really well in combination with gun, especially with the nano upgrade. Because simply the ability of hiding your ACU very rather effectively makes the Cypher Commander an extremely powerful Rambo com. And the Cypher Nano also has insane regen. So, interesting. But I guess it's just the age-old question that has been a thing for a very long time. with both of them being on the same slot and a lot of players liking their T2 to build up some fire bases. But let's go back to, let's actually talk about the action. Cypernoob pushing forward with the army, with a sizable army of T1 spam. The flank being completely, being completely crushed by the main army of Black Phoenix that was supporting that ACU, which has now finished its gun upgrade. In the chat we just saw that a nano upgrade was started for Neophyte. Yep. But with that gun commander and the flank of the original army of Cypernoob being completely crushed, that's not looking too great. That army seems to be advancing, still, though there is currently a defensive force massing in the main base. But one T2 max right here did end up going down to this. The T1 push with the supporting gun commander, however, is closing on Cypernoob and forced a cancel on that T2 upgrade. That is going to be very painful economically. But I was about to say, it looks like that army right there will force Black Phoenix to fall back for now, but with that gun com and some very nicely placed overcharges, that T1 spam is just completely evaporating. In the meantime, the T2 HQ finished and we almost have a destroyer out in the middle pond. So it is exactly what I expected there. Some layered torpedo launchers being quickly thrown up by Original Angel. Well, not so quickly, but started to be built. As a response to Count Swagula, who went into the water with that torpedo upgrade. However, now that there is a destroyer out, and those engineers are immediately retargeting their efforts onto that nanite torpedo array, that T2 torpedo launcher, I'm not sure how long Count Swagula will be for this world. As destroyers tend to be very effective against that with their anti-torpedo measures, though they are not perfect, and also a very potent armament of torpedoes themselves. Looks like the ACU is doing pretty well against that. We have a bunch of torp bombers now flying overhead, trying to deal with the naval HQ. But the first torpedo launcher actually did finish. And with that, Count Swagula now taking a lot of damage. Right here. Those torpedo launchers still doing those torpedo bombers still doing a lot of damage onto that naval bomber. However, we do have ASF coming in, and now also top bombers moving in onto the AC of Count Swagula. Even with the Salem now closing in on that again. Let's look further up north for a moment before that ACU. Never mind, maybe I shouldn't look north because that ACU is almost dead at 1k HP. There's another wave of airdrop torpedoes down below 1k, and there it blows. Does take out the destroyer with that death explosion, but with the T2 HQ still being there, that can easily be replaced. And that's the first ejection at the about 12-minute mark, or 12.5 minutes, for the southern team in the form of Count Swagula. Now, there was another push attempted by Cypernoob. I wanted to talk about that, but decided against it with the imminent ACU death. So, and that did end up getting repelled by Black Phoenix. We can still see the reclaimed field of, let's see, 4,000 mass right there. 41, that is a sizable reclaimed field. Some T2 for Spectre Slave now also moving into this flank. Some Yenzines. If the goal is to mostly go for land right now, I feel like the better play here would be Ilshivas, since Ilshivas are incredibly powerful. But, well, they will probably know what they are doing, so... And I mean, Yansis are still pretty good, so they will probably still finish the job. We also have some Rhinos out for Cypernoob now, pumping damage in there as well, and that T2 force will be rather effective in dealing with that T1 spam. Maybe not quite winning that, but still causing heavy damage to it. Another push happening a bit further up north. A run by, since there are no forces to defend against that. The main spam factories have all moved on to T2, though it feels like they are producing rather slow. Is Cybernoop perhaps stalling mass? Yes, they are, but not as much as I would have thought. Maybe also just misjudging the build speed right now. That is probably it. Because you're looking at it, those actually do build rather fast, so I guess I'm just mistaken. Max's indie core base, a lot of them, like 2 of them already at T3, and already getting double capped. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, double capping is less mass efficient than upgrading Maxes to T3, so it would be currently the better call to just upgrade the remaining T2 Maxes to T3, but, well, I guess they had it just queued up like that, and that is that. The push around the northern flank, the attempted run by, did get noticed, and there is some T2 stuff that had moved in to respond. However, I think that might not be quite sufficient to deal with all of the mantis, as all of these Yenzins do slowly go down, though it would definitely be better if that fire was focused to take out one after the other, that way reducing the total amount of firepower faster. But I guess you can't have everything. And the first of them's now also moving out for Spectre Slaves, so Southern team at the T3 land stage. And apparently also the T4 land stage, since a chicken just finished for Spectre Slave. How's that looking up north? We do have a Megalith queued up, a SMD as well. And we have bricks rolling off the factories for Black Phoenix. Now, we do have the Salems building in the middle, as well as some cruisers to just provide aerial denial. How's it looking on this side? We also have Othams coming out for Neophytes, so they are also at the T3 stage. T3 air achieved by Signal Runner. Think we saw those scouts earlier, and a nuke underway for Cubs, who already has a Quantum Gateway up as well, though has not achieved full T3 maxes. That's a slight misplay, since the RAS Sekus are generally not very mass efficient. They take a long time to pay themselves off. I mean, they are easy to mass produce because you set it up once and then they just keep producing and keep increasing your economy. But T3 Max is definitely still the better call there. And T3 land currently also underway for Original Angel. How's it looking on the south side? Of course, we have the T3 even with the experimental with the chicken out for Spectre Slave. Still only T2 for Cybernoop, and no current signs of them going up to T3. Unsurprising, T3 Air out for Hyper. T3 Cybran out for Wackathon. And also T3 Aeon out for Wackathon. I did not point it out earlier, this is played with full share on. After Count Dracula died, their stuff was gifted over to Wackathon as the highest rated player. Most games nowadays are played with full shares, so I guess it's not much that would have been said, that I would have needed to say there. Bunch of hoplites from Cybernoop do move in on the Navy to try to do something, but get quickly annihilated by the sheer number of Salems. Cruisers shooting anything out of the air that tries to fly over the pond. But we have the chicken moving in, and with the range of that, it should be able to do some serious damage against those Salems. Now, let's look back north, and we do see a sizable force of rhinos out from Cybernoop, pushing by the front of Black Phoenix, trying to run by. However, Black Phoenix, noticing this, immediately runs into the flank of that, and does cause some heavy damage with those bricks. However, due to the strong disagreement that these bricks seem to be having with the cliffside, they do not seem to be doing a great job at taking out the rhinos, as a lot of this firepower is wasted on the cliff edge. Well, that's slightly problematic. One of the downsides of flat firing arcs. Your shots will not arc over cliffs. Saying that, the firing arcs of bricks aren't actually that flat. There is a bunch of bullet drop that has to be taken into account. From the top-down perspective, it's of course not quite as obvious because, well, you don't really see that. But looking from this, it looks like there's actually some form of that happening, but I guess it's still pretty flat. A laser upgrade being done by Signal Runner, who already does have stealth and nano. So maybe we will see a bit more of an aggressive use of that commander. Or just serves the purpose of tele-defense, I'm not sure. Best tele-defense, of course, in the game being just having the laser yourself. Or an experimental. That's usually also a pretty good tele-defense. Like a GC or a Monkey Lord tend to do short work of teleporting ACUs. But that small army did make it in, now causing some damage to the T3 maxes of Original Angel, who seems to be a little bit annoyed in chat, questioning if that is really just happening. How is the naval shenanigans looking? Well, the chicken did get damaged and did move in there earlier, so... Well, a benefit of the fact that I do watch these usually earlier, I am aware that that actually happened. There was something going on there. But it did move onto the flank to try push through there, and that will most likely be very successful as I do not see any current counter out from Black Phoenix that could effectively deal with an experimental. Like, yes, there are a few bricks on the field, but a few bricks will not be the chicken. You need a bit more than just a few. The Salems starting their great walk with their evil ability to walk, the nefarious Cybran versatility. Nothing is as versatile as a Cybran unit, or as a Cybran destroyer, because, well, you have direct fire, you have anti-air, you have torpedoes, you have torpedo defenses, you have radar, you have sonar. You can use it both on land and on the water. It's the raw definition of the Cybran versatility. Those are moving back now a bit with a bunch of T1 bombers moving in. But the usually very mediocre AA on the Salem seems to be sufficient just due to the sheer amount of them to shoot down these T1 bombers before they can do serious damage. Now, let's actually look onto the south flank. What's going on here? We have a pretty sizable push of Harbingers coming out from Rockefeller. That's their name. Took me a moment. As well as a few bricks, though these are currently moving towards the central pond, that are definitely threatening the current position of Neophytes, since they do not have nearly as much T3 units on the field. They do have a chicken queued up, and that would probably be able to cause a breakthrough, but at this moment in time, their units are significantly outnumbered by the Harbingers. Though there are some T2PDs being built up, however, these do go down very quickly to the sustained Harbinger fire, meaning that they will not be too useful for too long. Those bricks actually made it into the back line, walking past, and now about to threaten the naval production. While those Salems, the first one already died, do now start pushing into the base of Spectre Slave. Walking all of that way, and now just bombarding that base from a distance. One of the great things of Salems is that they have amazing range if you count them as a land unit, which makes sense while you have them on land. Because, well, the engagement ranges in the naval game are usually much higher than on land, so of course you also need higher ranges. And in addition to that, also just the fact that the Salem has the highest range of any destroyer in the game. If I remember correctly. That's the last thing I remember when it comes to naval balance, so I think it's still accurate, but please don't quote me on that. Well, maybe... Wait, never mind. Please do quote me on that and maybe correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Because I guess that would be some sort of quoting on that. But there was another chicken that did move in, and in combination with some rhinos that were easily able to overwhelm those destroyers. That incursion has been defeated before it was able to cause too much damage. It did cause quite a bit of damage, but not too insanely high amounts. In the water in the meantime, a bunch of bricks have made it in here. We do have a bunch of Salems right now just using their torpedoes, as well as the earlier constructed torpedo launchers, and some T1 torpedo launchers, as well as a harms torpedo ambushing system being built up by Signal Runner. In combination, all of those will definitely just prevent any future attempt of bricks walking through there. T3 maybe has now been achieved, so maybe we will see some nuke sub action there as discrete nuke launchers. And in the north it looks like the push of the chicken did get ended. Yep, it died right there. So 12,000 reclaim there to be collected. And we do have a Monkey Lord that is now slowly working its way up the flank to come in as a surprise. Looks like a bunch of factories did end up dying to that, and the maglev is currently not being continued. What I did just notice is that we have a nuke launcher that is almost loaded out for cups. Let's see, is there any answer down south? I don't see an SMD, I do however see another nuke launcher. One built up by Spectre Slave. Now, a thing about nuke launchers. If you have a nuke launcher, your enemy definitely has the ability to have one as well. If you can afford to build a nuke launcher, build an SMD. Because at this stage of the game, again, if you can afford to build a nuke launcher, it's very likely that your opponent can do the same. And you don't want to be surprised. And I think that's exactly what the Southern team is now experiencing. They have been surprised by the fact that a nuke launcher has been constructed by the Northern team as well. And looking at the Northern team, and there are some SMBs that have actually been built up. Well, Black Phoenix is still building theirs, so they will lose that base. We do have an SMD, though it's not currently loaded out for Signal Runner, and the nuke down south. It goes straight for the base of Hyper, took out the entire air grid, or basically the entire air grid. A few Comaxes and all of the double capping of those maxes. The northern nuke of the southern team, yep, it's flying in to the base of Black Phoenix, who did just finish the SMD. Will that SMD survive? That is the question, and yes it will. There it goes. Completely missed it, but it looks like Neophyte actually just died to something. I'm not sure what that was. Aliens here, maybe it was just the army of Wackerthor that pushed in. I'm not too sure. Might have been a GC. Really can't tell. Well, that looks like Corsair, so it might have been a Corsair snipe. But no matter, the base has been gifted over to Cups, who is quickly erecting a whole bunch of defenses to hold the area, and those do quickly annihilate the Harbingers, allowing to defend against that, though not before losing a significant amount of maxes and infrastructure in the area. And there's of course still the issue of AGC that I just noticed a bit earlier, also working its way up that side. If I could find the GC, I could swear I've seen one just moments ago. I might be blind, nothing new there, I know, but Never mind, it looks like it died. Red. And with that damage pattern, and I guess some information I might have from watching this earlier again, I think that was caused by the Ion Storm of the dead chicken that we see right here. And that looks like long-range artillery fire flying over the map. And it indeed is. We do have a disruptor out for original Angel, which is slowly bombarding the base of Spectre Slave, though they do already have shielding, meaning that they should be able to hold out quite well against that. What the shielding will not be quite as useful for defending against is the Monkey Lord closing in, though for that we do have a chicken currently closing in. And with the superior range of the chicken, it should be able to take out the Monkey Lord. I think the chicken does beat the Monkey Lord in a straight 1-to-1 fight. Even if the Monkey Lord does get into range, so... Well, the chicken is losing a lot of HP, but that Monkey Lord is losing the HP much faster, so... And there it goes, the chicken moves back up north, I guess to prepare another push. And we do see battleships in the pond. I think that's a questionable move. I can understand aircraft carriers both as AA and as airbuild power, because aircraft carriers are pretty good for that, but I have to question the play of battleships, because with the general setup of the map, the firing angles seem very limiting, and there's also just, let's take a look how much range that actually has. Yeah, there's not too much in the range of that can actually be hit. I'm pretty sure this is actually just hidden behind the mountain well enough that doesn't work, so seems questionable. And would you look at that, a bunch of Harbingers from Workfly actually made it into the back line, running past the front stuff and killed the ACU of Original Angel. I would have completely missed it if I didn't check their perspective for that range just now, and getting that commander on attack warning. But it seems like they were completely caught off guard by that Harbinger push that just walked past here. Northbound team seemingly struggling very hard with some run-bys from their opponents. And we do have a bunch of Corsairs coming in from Signal Runner to try and help with the second wave of that run-by. Though now that there is some awareness to that, the bricks from, well, originally Original Angel, now under control of Cubs, are moving in to deal with that. There's a saw under construction for Wackathon, the Donut. And I was about to say another GC, but no, that's a Radiance. How did I think that was a GC? Don't question it. What we do, however, have is an emissary. The Aeon heavy long-range artillery. And it looks like the shielding... Never mind, there was no shielding around this position for Cubs. Though we do have a second disruptor under construction that would be very devastating, as one disruptor is already very dangerous. And that one disruptor is seemingly retargeting onto the base of Hyper now, who does not have a shielded base, meaning that does have a chance of breaking through. Another nuke launched, this one back out from Spectre Slave, and where is that going? It's going right after the base that originally belonged to Neophyte, I think. And I do not see any SMDs, so that will most likely land. Taking out a Soothsayer and a T3 HQ, some T3 Pigeons, and I think a few T3 Maxes. Well, one T3 Max and one T1, possibly one T2. It's gonna cause some damage, but it could be worse. I think at least, yeah. Could have ended much worse. Big TML bank also out for Wakathor just slowly causing damage, slowly picking off some of the stuff at the front. There are some Team Ds to deal with that, however, those are TML4s, meaning that they do launch those nasty cycling missiles that split up into 4, making it harder to defend against them. Not impossible, but just very annoying. Because you need significantly more tactical missile firepower to take those out properly. The emissary is now firing, and where is it firing? Extending that, it looks like it had started to fire into the base that has now been nuked into oblivion. Now, the nuke launcher from Cubs is fully loaded, is there? There is another nuke launcher currently under construction for Black Phoenix. Though I would suspect that the Liberator out from Cubs will be fired before that finishes. And looking at the overall situation, we have one SMD here that is not loaded. Okay, a high-pass SMD, which is also not loaded. And okay, there's also one out for Wakathor, which is actually loaded. So most players in the Southern team do now have at least one SMD. Mapgen having a massive push currently, with a sizable force of bricks, and also a not insignificant amount of Harbingers. Well, what do I mean with not insignificant? Actually comparable to the amount of bricks in total. So that is a very dangerous push. Now, some macro would probably be nice to have those bricks ideally closer to the front, because, well, bricks are just have a higher HP pool, meaning that they can soak up damage more effectively. But, well, also a bunch of asylums doing their job, soaking up some more damage. And the T3 army just crushing the forces of Cubs that are supporting that Monkey Lord, which notices the danger of that current situation and pulls immediately back, after getting in a little bit of damage. What does not need to immediately move back is the Megalith that is now starting to move in, as that is just causing heavy amounts of damage to that army. With that, well, with that massive, I think those are photon cannons? Yeah, I think those are two twin photon cannons. Well, they are definitely two twin cannons, but I think it was photon cannons. And the nuke up here has been launched. Where is this one going? This one is flying south, and well, Wakathor does have a loaded SMD. Is that... There is a firebase right here at the front. It does not have SMD, and it's going straight for that. Okay. This shouldn't be too valuable. It's gonna be a bunch of construction or build power, so it will be annoying to lose, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. Looking at the amount of fire, long-range fire coming in, the second disruptor did indeed finish. And where are those flying? Those are flying into the base of Wakathor, breaking through the shields, and most likely going to, well, there it lands. It takes out a bunch of P-gens, it takes out the emissary, and looks like it also took out the SMD. That is very, very problematic. Wakathor going for heavy shield, increasing the HP pool on that ACU, meaning that it is not going to die to one of those artillery shells. Though the normal shield completely collapsing under that artillery fire just from the stray shells landing. Aside from artillery, notoriously inaccurate. But it seems to be retargeting onto either the base of Hyper or the base of Spectre Slave, and it looks like it's the base of Spectre Slave. In the middle, the Naval Factory did actually end up dying to something. We do have 3 battleships. I still think the battleship is definitely a misplay right here, and think I pointed out earlier that there is that a bunch of the stuff in that area is actually just also screened by that mountain, and yep, there it is. All of those shells just vanishing into the mountain. Battleship probably a misplay. We do have a megalith for Wakathor moving in on that. Moving in on the Navy, and that will most likely... Well, that will probably continue there, and... Knowing the megalith cause extremely heavy damage, because megaliths completely crush the Navy. Even if they are submerged, because megaliths have incredibly good torpedoes. Like, not so insanely good that you should just use them as a primary naval unit. But, like, as a naval support unit or something to just tank up torpedo damage and stuff like that, megaliths can be insanely powerful. Because, of course, they are extremely tanky, and the amount of torpedoes they can also produce is still significant enough to not be ignored. Unlike, for example, the anti-air firepower on a lot of stuff. And the nuke launcher launches, and yep, that I think I saw that ping going right into the Navy, killing that. Megalith moves in closer. But yes, unlike other experimentals, mainly the Fatboy for example, the torpedoes on the Megalith are actually worth using. As you can see, the amount of damage they are actually doing to these harbors. And the rate at which they are being shot out. And you also have some pretty good torpedo defenses. But the nuke does impact, taking out all T3 Navy with the exception of one battleship and one of the arms, the second one about to go down to the Megalith torpedoes. That Megalith at still 40,000 HP. And now about to take on that Galaxy-class battleship. And the torpedoes on the Megalith are definitely better than the ones on the Galaxy-class. Though that does not take much, as the Galaxy-class has pretty shitty torpedoes. It does have them, yes, they're just not good. Another case of torpedoes that can just be ignored, because they are just not worth it. Another nuke is launched, this time up from Cups again. And another nuke out from Black Phoenix. And I can see one nuke ping going right here into the base of Cybernoop. And I think that is close enough that it will kill all of those T3 Maxes. Where's the second nuke flying though? This SND, by the way, is still not loaded. So that would have been a prime target as well. Though Hyper definitely loaded by now. And, well, Wakathor did rebuild the SMD, it's not loaded right now. That would also have been a really good target, but both nukes actually impacting onto the base of Cybernoop, very close to each other. That base is definitely gone now. And, well, Southern team questioning why 2 nukes were spent on that. But, yes, reasons. There were reasons, I'm sure of that. In the middle now, top bombers being utilized to deal with that Megalith. And that actually does mean that it is losing significant amounts of health now. Just due to that. Though it might still take out the Galaxy. A new naval factory has been built up by Cups. So we will possibly see the naval shenanigans used once more. I just want to point out, I don't think it's a really good strategy, it's a meme strategy. And it's always fun to spark the conversation of how much pond is enough pond to actually build, to justify a naval build. Now, depending on your opponents, if you are confident you can beat your opponents very easily, there is no such thing as too little pond to build a navy. Especially if you're Cybran. I'm just gonna put it like that. Now, you shouldn't throw your game for memes. Most of the time. But, I mean, it can be very funny. And considering how this game is going, it's balanced enough that I think the train of thought that there is no such thing as too little pond to build a navy definitely goes into effect here. We do have a sizable push currently going on the northeastern flank, with a Megalith and a Monkey Lord pushing up, supported by a bunch of bricks and a few bouncers. However, in the southwestern flank we do have a southern Megalith and a bunch of bricks moving up, pushing into the other direction. However, I just noticed that it's being countered by 2 Megaliths. What is better than 1 Megalith? Correct, it's 2. And, well, yeah, I think that basically clears that. 2 Megaliths will win against 1, especially if if this one is placed in a way that that the Glyph is actually taking a bunch of fire from this Megalith when it tried to fire back, and does actually end up going down. But now with 2 Megaliths moving up, I think this flank will be able to move on quite a bit. We do have a sizable battery of Gunthers right here that can be retargeted, and Gunthers pretty effective in dealing with Megaliths. Even more effective in dealing with Fat Boys, but still decently effective against the Megalith, as that is still a kind of high-range siege unit. Still kind of a siege experimental. Unlike the Fat Boy can actually do assaulting jobs because it has the HP to do so. Because, dear god, a Megalith has a lot of HP. But I feel like the main role of the Megalith is still just as a longer range bombarding unit, since it does still have the second highest range from all direct fire experimentals. And yes, I will call the Fat Boy a direct fire experimental because the firing arc on that is pretty flat. That is a hill I'm willing to die on. Though you could also argue that the firing arc on T2 artillery is pretty flat. Do I get a chance to see that firing? I don't think I do. Or do I? Yep, we do see it firing, and yeah, that is generally a pretty flat arc on that as well, but well, yeah. That's artillery, that's something different. A whole bunch of Corsairs being brought in to try and take out the Megaliths. Actually focusing down the one that was lower health first, and that is definitely the right call. However, the big problem here, ASF force does move in, and with that, those get quickly wiped out. Hyper, actually, just looking at what they were up to, does have Teleporter and laser stuff on the ACU. Where is that going? Teleport was just initiated. Where's that access point? Exit point, and that is going right here, right next to the disruptors. And we do have a few servers right here. Do they have the range? They don't. I would have been surprised if they did. Cups also very close to that. That ACU is possibly about to cause heavy damage. Never mind, there is some tele defense right here. We do have a few Cerberus turrets. But the ACU does manage to take out one of those artillery guns. Never mind, 2 of them, there were actually 3. And also the third one does take out the P-gens. Does go in, Signal Runner very low HP. And Signal Runner actually going down to the tele-snipe. However, there is now a lot of point defense built up, but not quite enough. Hyper does make it out. Moves on to the send-off technology stuff up here, where there was another artillery that was about to finish. Kills that off. However, takes a lot of damage from the just explosions from the volatility explosions that those pigeons have, and ends up going down as a collateral due to those exploding. Maybe you should have tried to tally a bit further away, maybe somewhere like here, to properly stay out of that explosive range. But, oh well.
Strategic launch detected.
Teleporter also being built up by Wakatha now. But we do now have those two megaliths pushing up the western flank. On the eastern flank we do have 3 chickens pushing, and they did end up killing the megalith. Looks like the Maculot did pull back in time. However, there are still the nuke launchers, even after those artilleries died. And those are now flying, and... where is that flying? That looks like it's gonna hit something in this area. Well, one nuke is targeted onto this. And... oh no, Wakatha is moving right into that. Right, that was actually targeted onto the collection of Maxes right here. But Wakatha actually moving into that nuke. Though, looking at what's actually going on, it does make sense, since we do have those megaliths moving up. Let's hope that they stay far enough away from that nuke to not actually die to it. But even then, with the presence of those megaliths, that ACU is under significant threat. And the ACU was not far enough away, ends up dying to the nuke explosion from Cups. Only leaving Spectre Slave and Cyber Noob now, turning this into a 2v2 after Signal Runner died earlier to the Telesnipe. Artillery emplacements actually being rebuilt, but I feel like at this point the game is basically decided. We do have a massive wave of Zeusers going in on those megaliths, and that guy is just shedding its HP poo, so I guess it works. That push up north, however, seems to be rather successful. However, we do have 3 Monkey Lords against that, with another one halfway finished. And some pretty decent defenses here. I feel like that could be sufficient to actually deal with this. I know I pointed out earlier that the chicken actually wins in a 1-to-1 situation against Monkey Lords. But we also have a not insignificant force of bricks moving up with that. And okay, second Monkey Lord does go down. I think the third one will be able to take out the chicken with the support of those bricks, and it does. Indeed managed to do that, but it does end up going down as well, leaving 2 chickens against a bunch of bricks, and also still having the support of these lightning tanks, which are actually very good at ground targeting as well, even though they are primarily anti-air. A new Monkey Lord has already finished here, a second one is underway. And especially if they have the support from that shield with those chickens moving in, they should be able to actually cause quite a bit of damage, proving more effective than the previous Monkey Lords. This one is moving in, though it already lost half of its HP. Those chickens not actually targeting those Monkey Lords, instead trying to take out the SMD and succeeding in doing so. However, that does end up in both of them dying to the Monkey Lords. Now, but that nuke is not loaded, but it is about to finish loading once more. Both Megaliths by looks of it actually still alive. No, and all 3 actually, because this one is low HP one. A new one has just been brought up to the front. And nice to see someone actually using the ability to build X, or like of the Megalith to lay X, to get some frontline engineers up. A very nice ability of the Megalith. I feel like it's underused, because like it's so useful to just get some build power up front. Unlike the other mobile factories in the game, you of course can't build while moving, because like you've built a physical construct, you build that egg, which drops out a few engineers once it's finished. But still. And is that just one engineer? No, I think that's 3. Just right on top of each other. Now, looking back at the main assault, one of the magleves does go down because we have 3 chickens defending the area. But with the supporting bricks and the next maglev in there as well, those chickens do still take a lot of damage. That maglev will most likely also die due to the 3 chickens firing into it. But not before causing significant damage to the other ones.
Strategic launch detected.
A Yolana Oz started by a Spectre Slave, though I feel like it's a bit too late to do that, since they are probably better off spending that economy onto something that will actually defend them here. They will most likely not be able to finish the Yolana Oz. They definitely need that to be sent into something more short-term. Like more chickens. More nukes fly, one directly going after the base of Cypher Noob once again. And I feel like that AC will be caught in that explosion. And Spectre Slave also firing their own nuke, and yes, Cypher Slave does go, Cypher Noob does go down in that nuke explosion. And we see that beautiful double Cypher nuke. But second Seraphim nuke flies up, however this time there is SMD that is actually loaded up for Black Phoenix, meaning that that does not land. And with that, that does not succeed. The offensive from Cups does slow down right now, as there's only a bunch of rhinos and a few Suis and bricks just being streamed on. That is not going to be too effective against some chickens defending the E-place. What will be more effective will be the long-range artillery bombardment, it feels like, as there are 2 disruptors split up once again. And with the existence of nukes as well, this is not a great place to be at. Yolana is halfway finished. Still think it's a misplay. Like a massive misplay. That mass, I think, still better put into shield assist, into more chickens, just into stuff to hold the line. We do have another push of a Maglev and 2 Monkey Lords, as well as 2 Soul Rappers coming out on the northeastern side. Bunch of T1 bombers try to be utilized in order to deal with the Maglev. Though Soul Rappers do move in a little bit. Even though the anti-air on Soul Rappers isn't great, it will be able to rather effectively shred those T1 bombers, as they are just not very tanky. And even Soul Rapper anti-air can deal with that. That looked like it was an attempted strat snipe to take out the YOLO, I think. Going by that angle of approach. That path, not sure what the exact goal was, but it did end up being shot down, however not before dropping enough shields that artillery was able to break through. And never mind, it wasn't even completely shot down, as there are still a few strat bombers flying overhead. And it does indeed look like the main target was the Yolana Oz. Preventing that from finishing. The chicken is still trying to desperately defend. However, with the push now also collecting from the north and another presence of Salem's, this game is decided, and Spectre Slave, realizing that, decides to give up, and I think that was a recall. Right, I hope you did enjoy this. This was streamed live on Twitch. Link to that will be, as per always, down below in the description. If you did enjoy it, maybe leave a like, or don't. I can't force you. And maybe subscribe so you get notified whenever I put out more casts. Usually Wednesday, and I don't know, in 2 years or whenever I'm actually off, when I actually no longer procrastinate editing down the homeworld playthrough I've streamed, I think already over a month ago now. And that was a full playthrough of the remaster of Homeworld 1. Yeah, but whenever I'm actually done editing that, that will also, of course, be uploaded, and you will be notified when that comes out as well. Whenever I actually stop procrastinating that. I promise, I will actually do that at some point. Just not right now. So, I don't know. I feel like the 2 years aren't gonna be that far off. I feel like it's gonna be at least half a year of delay until that actually sees the light of day. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you again in a future cast or stream. And till then, bye!